Alright, guys, in this video, we'll talk about India Iran relations. And after seeing the growing conflict between Israel and Iran, we can see how much important the topic of India Iran relations is for us. So, शुरू करने से पहले we have to understand कि ईरान और इंडिया के बीच में क्या proximity है, कितना दूर है ईरान इंडिया से, and what are the neighboring countries bordering the Iran. See, ये है हमारा ईरान and this is India. और रिटर्न ईरान की नेबरिंग कंट्रीज अभी देखते हैं पहले. First of all, this country, this nation, then comes this nation, total two. This is the third nation, then this is the fourth nation, this is the fifth nation, this small nation is the sixth nation, and this is the seventh nation. After that, we'll do the water bodies. So this nation is the Turkmenistan, this nation is Afghanistan, this nation is Pakistan, this right here is Iraq, this is Turkey, ये है साइड में अजरबैजान, और ठीक इसके ऊपर छोटा सा है आर्मेनिया. ऑलराइट, अब बात करते हैं वाटर बॉडीज के बारे में. सो यहाँ पे जो वाटर बॉडी है, मेन वाटर बॉडी, दैट इज द अरेबियन सी, एंड दिस वाटर बॉडी टू द नॉर्थ ऑफ ईरान, यहाँ पे ये वाला जो वाटर बॉडी है, दिस इज द कैस्पियन सी. Alright, so this was the entire bordering countries or bordering nations that Iran is surrounded by, and the water bodies as well. Start करते हैं with the historical ties. Historical ties में will cover this portion into two parts. That is, first part is the ancient period, and the second portion is medieval period. अब ancient के बारे में अगर हम बात करें, तो first proof or the first evidences of the trade relations between India and Iran comes from the trade links during the Indus Valley civilization. In the trade links, the first example is the most famous Indus Valley site, which is Lothal. Now, Lothal was a trade port, first of all, and it was in Gujarat near the Gulf of Khambat. ये हो गई लोथल की बात. एंड इसका क्या सिग्निफिकेंस था? विल टॉक अबाउट द एक्सपोर्ट्स. इसके क्या क्या एक्सपोर्ट्स थे? द फर्स्ट एक्सपोर्ट्स, द मेन एक्सपोर्ट्स वर बीड्स, then semi precious stones, and these semi precious stones, carnelia, and you can also say ivory. These are the two examples of semi precious stones that were being exported. Then pottery बोल सकते हैं, then copper बोल सकते हैं, shell bangles, and लास्ट एग्जाम्पल जो आप बोल सकते हो, कॉटन टेक्सटाइल्स. Alright, so these were the exports of Lothal. Second port, second major trade port की अगर मैं बात करूं, that will be undoubtedly सुतका. इसके लोकेशन की बात करें तो दिस इज इन बलोचिस्तान, इन पाकिस्तान, नियर द ईरान बॉर्डर. जहाँ तक इसकी बात आती है, इसके बहुत सारे ट्रेड पार्टनर्स थे, and including the trade partners, we can have multiple examples, which we can say, like, first example as Mesopotamia, second is the Persia, थर्ड एग्जाम्पल इज दी, इसको हम बोल सकते हैं बहरीन, जिसको उस टाइम पे दिलमुन भी बोला जाता था. नाउ मेसोपोटामिया क्या होता है? जस्ट ब्रीफ यू थोड़ा सा, वरना वीडियो बहुत लंबी बन जाएगी. मेसोपोटामिया का ग्रीक मतलब ये है, द लैंड बिटवीन रिवर टिग्रिस एंड यूफ्रेट्स. और इट एंड अगर हम बात करें प्रेजेंट डे, तो दिस इज मॉडर्न डे ईरान, इराक, सीरिया एंड टर्की साइड. So if a question comes, if lecture topics in your SSB, or whether it is the paper 2 of your CAPF or even UPSC mains, you can write these much examples. It will be more than enough. Then if we'll talk about medieval period, Delhi Sultanate and Mughals, Then we can say the Uttar Pradesh part, the art and literature, and the language and culture. First, we'll do the Delhi Sultanate and Mughals. इनके टाइम पे Persia was the official language. Then if we talk about the Uttar Pradesh part, including Agra and Lucknow, इन जगहों पे like Agra and Lucknow, Persian poetry and architecture flourished a lot. फिर if we talk about the art and literature, we have the legendary example of Amir Khusrau of Delhi, who fused Persian with Indian musical and literary traditions. आमिर खुसराओ को पैरट मैन ऑफ इंडिया भी बोला जाता है. Alright guys, so this was about the historical ties between India and Iran. Now we'll move further to do the topic of geographical importance. कि आज के टाइम पे क्या geographical importance है, with also we'll do with strategic examples. Talking about this, the first thing is the Iran's location. See, Iran ka location, it links India with Afghanistan, Central Asia and the rest of Europe. And the second example is the legendary Chabahar Port. This is a very important topic in itself. If you want a separate video on Chabahar Port, I've already made that video. Go check it out from the I button or from the video list in my channel. Now, Chabahar Port is in Sistan, Balochistan province of Iran. First importance is that it bypasses Pakistan. It provides India direct access to Afghanistan, Central Asia, and Europe without going through the hostile Pakistani territory. The second importance about Chabahar Port is it counters the Gwadar Port. It acts as a counterweight to China-backed Gwadar Port in Pakistan, which is just 170 kilometers away. And the next important feature about the Chabahar Port is the regional influence, that it strengthens India's role in the Indian Ocean region, that is IOR, and the Eurasian connectivity as well. The fourth important geographical significance of Chabahar Port is that it is a gateway to INSTC, which is International North-South Transport Corridor, which connects India to Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia, and Europe. And the next important geographical significance of the Chabahar Port is it is the link to Afghanistan. It connects to the Zaranj Delaram Highway, which is built by India, enabling trade with Kabul, Herat, and Central Asian nations. Then you need to understand that this Chabahar Port is developed by the India's IRCON and the Port Trust of India. And moving further to the economic and trade relations of India with Iran, with some suitable examples, I'll just briefly mention with examples. So the first is of course the oil trade, where Iran supplied a total of 10% of India's oil imports before the US sanctions in 2018. Now, after the USA put sanctions in 2018, the oil trade with Iran has been deteriorated and the oil trade with other Middle Eastern nations have increased. And the second thing that you need to understand is the IOC, which is Indian Oil Corporation, and MRPL, which is the Mangalore refinery. They were the major importers of oil before the US sanctions in 2018. Now, after the oil trade, we have to understand the exports from India and the imports from Iran other than the oil trade, which is also important. We'll just make a separate column. We'll write the exports from India. The first, the main exports from India are the basmati rice from Punjab and Haryana. The first is basmati rice from. Second, we can say the tea from Assam and West Bengal. Then the pharmaceuticals from Gujarat and Maharashtra, and then the steel products from Odisha and Jharkhand. Then moving on to the imports from Iran, other than the oil, we have dry fruits and saffron from Iran that reach Delhi and Mumbai markets. And next, we can say the urea, which is imported for agriculture in states like UP and Punjab. I'm writing the imports here. Imports from Iran. I'm including oil here as well. So first is the oil, of course. Second, as we said, dry fruits. Third is the saffron, and they reach to the Delhi and Mumbai markets. And then we have the urea that is used for agriculture in states like UP and Punjab. All right, so this was all about the economic and trade relations with examples. After that, we'll move towards the defense and security cooperations with assets and projects. The main projects includes the Chabahar Port that we have did already, and the second one is the Farzad B gas field. First one, of course, is the Chabahar Port, and second one is the Farzad B gas field. This, as we have already done, that Chabahar Port, it is a strategic maritime outpost which was developed jointly. This is a, and about the Farzad B gas field, it is ONGC Videsh was involved until the 2021 in the Khuzestan province of Iran. And guys, after this, we have the military equipments, which are not direct due to the US sanctions, but the drones include Iran's Shahid 136 drones, which are exported to Russia and they are not really used by India. And the exports from Indian side are non-lethal only, like the surveillance and radar tech, which is having limited cooperation in maritime security. Second is the joint training for maritime navigation and port security in Chabar. This includes surveillance and radar tech. First of all, surveillance and radar tech with limited cooperation in maritime security. Limited cooperation in maritime security. And then we have secondly is the joint training for maritime aviation and port security. And this is I'm talking about the Chabahar Port only. Alright guys, so this was all about the defense and security cooperations with assets and different types of projects. Now we'll move further to the political relations with multilateral engagements. Under this, we have the first, the international forums, like in which international organizations India and Iran interacts. So the first is India and Iran, they interact at UN, the first international organization. And the second international organization is the non-aligned movement. And the third international organization is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is SCO. All right, guys. So the next point in this international forums is that India supported Iran's right to peaceful nuclear energy. India supported the Iran's. All right, guys. And the third point that I can add is the balancing diplomacy. Like, despite the US pressure, India maintains its ties with Tehran while also deepening relations with Israel and Saudi Arabia as well. And also, these Indian delegations, they visited Iran during the sanctions, like our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's visit in 2021. All right, guys. So now we'll move further towards the resource and connectivity with state-based utility that I've already told you in the Chabahar Port Zarang Highway Dilaram Road that is constructed by the BRO and the INSTC, which is International North-South Transport Corridor, including the Farzad B gas field. So these are the connectivity and resources. We'll not do this again. We'll just move towards the cultural and educational relations with city-level examples. And the first example of cultural and educational relations is the Persian studies, which is taught in universities like JNU in Delhi, Aligarh Muslim University in Uttar Pradesh, and Osmania University in Hyderabad. And the next one is the cultural diplomacy, like we celebrate the Norvuz in Delhi, Mumbai, and Hyderabad among the Parsi and Shia communities. And the third and the final example is of the student exchange, like the Indian medical students in Tehran University of Medical Sciences, Iranian students in Indian universities like the IIT Delhi and Pune and Hyderabad. Alright, guys, so with this, we finished all the important aspects of India and Iran relations. Now, moving towards the challenges in bilateral ties. The first challenge can be the sanctions, the second can be the instability in Iran, and the third can be regional pressure. We'll just quickly write this. So the first is about the sanctions, the second can be the, and the third one can be regional pressure. See, what do you mean by sanctions here? It is the US CAATSA sanctions that affects India's oil purchases from Iran, and second can be the rupee real payment route disrupted. The sanctions include the And the instability in Iran can be due to internal protests, economic crises that limit continuity of agreements. And the regional pressure could be India maintains a neutral stand in Iran, Israel, and Iran Saudi Arabia tensions. Alright, guys, so this was all about the challenges and bilateral ties between India and Iran. Now, moving further, the last topic which we can do is the opportunity to improve relations. According to me, the first opportunity can be a digital trade mechanism, like using UPI like payment gateways for rupee real trade. The second can be joint defense development, which can be non lethal, like the surveillance drones for Coast Guard. Another one can be maritime domain awareness training. Third can be the satellite based communication security systems. And the last one can be joint infrastructure projects like renewing the Indian interest in Chabahar Zaidan Railway. So this was it about the India and Iran relations. I hope you enjoyed the video.